Welcome and welcome back, Fromly. I'm B, and today I'm discussing episode 8 of season 3 of From. So it pains me to say this, but I wasn't a big fan of Boyd's decision making this episode. I try not to be too hard on him because he has a lot to take on being the leader of this town. And he seemed pretty dejected this episode. But on the plus side, we did get some answers, a little bit of answers. However, it's led to more questions. So let's get into the recap. So this episode starts off with Boyd taking Fatima to the shed in the woods, and he wants her to stay there overnight until he and Ellis come up with a plan. He brought a talisman to keep her protected, and I was wondering where did he get this talismans from because there's only a limited amount, but maybe he got it from the bus. Anyway, Fatima's worried about Tilly's body, and Boyd said that someone has to find her. And I honestly thought that that was pretty effed up just to leave her body there like that and let someone find her. I know they got to keep the lie alive, but it's still wrong to me. So Jade, Tabitha, Jim, and Ethan come back from the settlement. Jade goes back to the bar and runs into Henry, who I guess was he slept there overnight after having drinks with Donna. And I didn't realize that they haven't met yet. And I'm just wondering why didn't they meet? I would think that Jade would want to meet with Henry since Miranda is a big part of this mystery. So at Colony House, one of the townsfolk finds Tilly in the greenhouse. Marielle rushes over to help, and we see Elgin is watching. The kimono lady has sent him another message through the camera, and I don't know why this ghoul can't just tell him because we know that she can talk in full sentences. We've seen that. But I guess she thinks it's fun and mysterious to guide Elgin through the pictures. And then in the next scene, Julie visits Randall in the basement of the clinic. She wants to go back to the ruins in the forest, but Randall is like, hell no, I ain't going back, and you need to stay away from it too, little girl. And Randall said that there's nothing here that wants to help us. And I'm starting to wonder if that's true. There are theories about whether the boy in white, the kimono lady, the hallucinations of Father, Katri, and Tom are good or bad, helpful or not. But what if none of these entities, ghosts, hallucinations are actually trying to help? I don't know. I guess we will see. So Boyd and Ellis go back to Colony House. Ellis wants to tell the town, but Boyd is very much against it. He tells Ellis to pack up some supplies so that he can go out there to the shed with Fatima. Kenny and Acosta are in the greenhouse with Tilly's body. And why is Acosta there? She's asking questions and trying to investigate, and I'm not here for it. After the way that she acted last episode, I don't want to see her again. She can be a background character for all I care. Anyway, poor Donna. She can't take too much more of the stress. I know that her blood pressure is probably sky high. And she tells Boyd that people are already starting to think that Sarah killed Tilly. Boyd knows that this ain't true, and he agrees to go with Donna to speak with Sarah later. In the next scene, Sarah is trying to help Victor remember Jasper, and Victor is throwing a tantrum. And I feel really bad for Victor in this scene. All the trauma that he's been through has led him to repress everything. I also feel really bad for Sarah because she's doing the best that she can, but she's become the punching bag for Victor. And then here we go again with Jim doubting Tabitha, and he's just now telling Tabitha that an entity was imitating Thomas and calling them on the phone. And then we see Sarah is at the door to get Tabitha because Victor needs her. And of course, Tabitha goes, and Jim is not happy about that. And I'm just wondering, has any one of them checked on Ethan since they got home? I mean, it's ridiculous how little attention they give to their children. Yes, go check on Victor, but check on your actual child first. And then Elgin is in the clinic and he runs into Randall. He lies and says that he's just getting a band aid. And Randall apologizes to Elgin for mistreating him on the bus. And I think they're definitely trying to give Randall a redemption arc. And Tabitha is now with Victor and Sarah in the basement, and he believes that Tabitha can make Jasper talk to him. Tabitha soothes Victor and he calms down a bit. And Tabitha definitely serves as a mother figure for Victor and also sees Sarah as his sister figure. So Julie's home from the clinic, and on her way in, her father's on his way out. How shocking. And he's leaving the children alone again to go tussle with Jade. And it's just like, come on, Jim. Your daughter just got home from the clinic and you don't even check in with her. You're running out to go get into an argument with Jim to assert your dominance instead of checking in on your daughter. So Jim is in the bar and he's puffing up his chest at Jade, and Jade goes in on Jim. And Jade said, "I'm tired of your sanctimonious bullish." And I'm like, we're all tired of it. You're talking for us, the audience, and probably everyone else in town. And Jade tells him, if you have a problem, you need to speak to your wife, not me. And Jade is right because he treats Tabitha like she's a child. You have two children that you ignore, but you treat your wife like she's 9 years old. While all of this is happening, Henry is just sitting back and observing them. Back at the shed, Ellis is comforting Fatima, blah, blah, blah. The most important part of this scene is that the kimono lady appearing to Fatima. I think that was the first time that she appeared to someone else besides Elgin. And then at Colony House, we see that the picture of that was taken was of a blood bag. So Elgin is taking his blood and he's putting it into bottles. And I think that that blood is to feed Fatima. Now, my favorite part of the episode is when Henry gives Jim some much needed advice. And it is, when you're with your wife, shut the F up and listen. And that's what we've been saying these past 3 seasons. Henry is able to relate to Jim. He dealt with the same thing with Miranda. He came to the realization that trying to fix her wasn't the right move because she wasn't broken. And Jim is actually listening to Henry for now. And I think he needed someone who had a parallel situation to relate to in order for him to listen. Now, on to the children. Julie has taken Ethan to the ruins. She tells him that she hears people screaming and it won't stop. And when she's near the ruins, the screaming actually stops. So Julie asks Ethan what to do, and Ethan is like, "What? Girl, I'm a child. Why are you asking me this?" That's what I got from Ethan when he said what. But I think Julie is onto something asking Ethan. I believe that Ethan is a big part of understanding what's going on. He used to talk about the promenade all the time, and I'm sure it has to be related to Fromville in some way. So Ethan tells Julie that she's at a threshold and that the hero has to be brave. And they hold hands and step into the ruins. Ethan disappears and Julie is in the ruins by herself. She sees herself, Randall, and Mario chained up, screaming like before. And then we see Martin, the old man that Boyd encountered. So Martin tells Julie that Boyd needs the rope, so she throws it down to him. And that answers the question of how Boyd got the rope. Since Martin was tied up, we were all wondering, how was he able to get the rope down to him? She then hears the voices of her mother and Victor when they were in the tunnel, and then she hears the Angui children. While all of this is happening, Ethan had gone back to town and got Kenny and Acosta, who helped Julie, who was having a seizure. And as soon as Kenny moved her from the ruins, the seizure stopped and she was awake. So it seems like Julie astral projected to those different points in time when she stepped into the ruins. And so this is one of the big reveals of the episode, that there's some sort of time travel or astral projection that's going on. And I wonder if that means that Marielle and Randall can also astral project. So we will see hopefully in the next 2 episodes. The next revelation was that Jasper was not actually talking to Christopher. Victor's memories come back, and we saw Christopher in the basement of the church. Christopher was with Jasper, but he was actually talking to the boy in white. The boy in white said the answers to the end are at the beginning. It started with the children, what the others did to them, the people they loved, the people they trusted. He said the children were born in the dark, and then they were murdered in the dark. But someone who loved them told them a story. The story gave them hope. And when the children laid on the stones, they poured their hope into the roots that made the symbol, and those roots became the tree. The boy in white told Christopher that in order to save the children, he would have to go through the tree, but Christopher wouldn't listen. Christopher said that everything lies here. So Victor told his mother what the boy in white said. And so this definitely tracks with some earlier theories that the Ankui children were sacrificed by people in the town, possibly their own parents, because he said that the others were people they loved and trusted. But these were people in town prior to Victor and Christopher being there. And the faraway tree is a result of their sacrifice. So I'm not sure who is the person who told them a story that gave them hope. Who do y'all think that person was? It seems like Victor is going to blame himself for his mother's death, but we know that it's not his fault because his mother was already having visions of Fromville before he told her what the boy in white said. Finally, Elgin finds Fatima in the shed and takes her to the cellar. He lures her there under the guise that Ellis is waiting for her. and Fatima realizes that something is wrong. Elgin tells Fatima that she has to be there because it's the only place that the baby will be safe. Elgin drops a bomb on Fatima and us that there is a baby, but it's not hers. So then whose baby is it, Elgin? Is it the kimono lady's baby? Like, whose baby is this? So Fatima starts to have pain and she tries to get away from Elgin, but he drags her down into the cellar on some serial killer type shit. And that scene in the cellar was very creepy and was giving real horror. I think that Elgin is obviously under the spell of the kimono lady, similar to Sarah being under control by one of the entities. But for me, I'm just like, she's pregnant, not pregnant. I'm starting not to care. Like, can y'all get to it? So, what is the purpose of that baby? Is the baby connected to the Angpui children? I really hope that they answer some of these questions that were raised, in the final two episodes. I really hope they do that and don't leave it on a cliffhanger. All right, folks, let me know what you thought of episode 8 of From in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror content.